Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm really glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe today felt long. Maybe your mind is still gently buzzing, replaying small moments, unfinished thoughts, or quiet worries that don't need solving right now. Or maybe you're simply someone who enjoys falling asleep to calm ideas about the world. Slow thoughts instead of counting sheep. Either way, this moment belongs entirely to you. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to figure out. You can let yourself listen the way you might listen to rain against a window or waves far out at sea. You don't have to follow every word closely. If your attention drifts, that's perfectly fine. If you miss a sentence or forget what was just said, that isn't a mistake. It's part of resting. Tonight, Sleepy Science isn't about studying or learning in the usual way. It's about storytelling. Gentle facts from nature, told slowly, like bedtime stories for a tired mind. These ideas don't need your focus to exist. They'll move along quietly, whether you're listening or already drifting somewhere else. As you settle in, you might imagine gravity feeling a little softer than usual, as if the world is holding you just enough, without any pressure. You might picture evening light filtering through leaves, growing dimmer one moment at a time, a forest breathing slowly, an ocean exhaling in long, unhurried waves, nature moving at a pace far slower than thought. If it feels right, you can lower the volume slightly. You can adjust your position, letting your body choose what feels most comfortable, lying down, sitting back, or simply resting where you are. There's no correct way to listen. Comfort is enough. And if you enjoy this kind of quiet space, you're always welcome to return. You can subscribe if it feels natural, or simply come back another night when rest feels far away. Think of this channel as a familiar clearing, a calm place that doesn't ask anything from you. Tonight's journey is about nature in its most peaceful forms, about slow movements, hidden rhythms, and processes that unfold whether anyone is watching or not. Things that exist quietly in the background of the world, just like you're breathing right now. You don't need to stay alert for what comes next. You don't need to keep track of time. You don't even need to hear the ending. Let the sound of this voice be something steady in the room. Let your thoughts soften around it. Let the day gently loosen its grip. And as we begin, imagine the natural world continuing peacefully. Forests growing, oceans moving, stars shining, even as your awareness grows lighter, slower, and more relaxed. And with that gentle thought, we can begin. Beneath every forest floor, a quiet conversation may be unfolding. Long before humans built networks of wires and signals, forests may have grown their own. Hidden under layers of soil and fallen leaves, delicate fungal threads weave between tree roots, forming vast underground connections. Through these pathways, trees can share nutrients, water, and chemical signals. It isn't loud or hurried. There are no flashing lights or alarms, just slow exchanges in the dark, roots holding hands beneath the earth, whispers traveling through soil. A tree shaded from the sun may receive a little extra nourishment from a neighbor in brighter light. A warning about insects might drift gently from one root system to another. It's cooperation without awareness, connection without urgency. And while none of this can be seen from above, the forest continues quietly, supported by relationships hidden from view. Above that unseen world, trees themselves move through time so slowly they appear still. If you watched a tree long enough, you still wouldn't see it move. Yet every moment, growth is happening. A branch leans almost imperceptibly toward the light. Roots press a little deeper into the ground. Cells divide, rings widen, and the tree responds to gravity and seasons the way a sleeper shifts gently in bed. Growth here isn't dramatic or sudden. It's a long inhale that lasts years, even centuries. Trees don't rush to become taller. They don't worry about progress. They simply grow when conditions allow, reminding us that not all journeys need to be visible to be real. This same patience exists on an even grander scale in mountains. From a distance, mountains seem eternal and unchanging, like stone frozen in place. But even the most solid things are quietly becoming something else. Mountains rise through deep forces beneath the earth, and they wear down through wind, ice, and rain. Grain by grain, edge by edge, time acts as a soft sculptor. These sleeping giants are never truly still. They're simply unhurried. Their changes happen over spans so long that no single lifetime could notice them. There's comfort in that kind of slowness, a sense that permanence doesn't require rigidity, and that change doesn't need to feel disruptive. From stone shaped by time, water takes over as one of the gentlest sculptors of all. Rivers rarely flow in straight lines. They curve and wander, bending around obstacles, carving wide paths instead of narrow ones. Nature rarely rushes straight toward anything. A river seems to understand that wandering is efficient. By meandering, it slows itself down, releasing energy gradually, creating balance. Its curves resemble breathing, in and out, back and forth. Watching a river, or even imagining one, can feel like watching a relaxed thought move through the mind. It reminds us that indirect paths are not mistakes. Sometimes they are the most natural way forward. Eventually, flowing water gives way to stillness. Lakes often settle into quiet layers, each resting gently atop the next. Warmer water floats above cooler depths, creating soft boundaries that shift slowly with the seasons. Even water seems to know how to rest in layers. There's no struggle for position, no urgency to mix. Each layer remains where it feels most comfortable, like a blanket folded carefully over itself. Stillness here has structure, but not rigidity. Order without effort. Calm organization that doesn't demand attention. The lake simply exists, holding its quiet arrangement day after day. Beyond lakes, the world's oceans stretch wider and deeper, holding some of the calmest places on Earth. Not all of the ocean is restless. Far below the surface, in the deep sea, movement slows almost to nothing. Water there remains cold and stable, undisturbed by storms above. It's dark, quiet, and steady, like a long-held breath. The ocean sleeps beneath itself, layers of motion resting atop layers of stillness. These deep zones remind us that rest is not an absence of life, but a state life often chooses. And as this quiet depth lingers in the imagination, it gently prepares us to drift further into the slow rhythms of the natural world. The moon is leaving us, but so slowly we barely notice. Each year, it drifts a tiny distance farther from Earth, pulled outward by subtle tidal interactions between our planet and its quiet companion. It isn't a sudden departure or a dramatic separation. It's more like a slow goodbye that takes billions of years. The moon has circled Earth faithfully for so long that this gradual change feels almost like a pause rather than a loss. Distance grows in millimeters, not leaps. And because it happens so gently, the relationship remains steady, familiar, and calm. It's a reminder that not all change arrives with sharp edges. Some changes are so soft, they barely feel like change at all. That same gentleness exists in the movement of Earth itself. Our planet is spinning, always has been, but its rotation is slowly, quietly slowing down. Time itself is lengthening, one whisper at a time. Each day becomes just a fraction of a second longer over vast stretches of history. Even planets get tired, in a way, get like a spinning top easing toward rest. Earth gradually releases energy without resistance. There's no rush toward stopping, just a slow, patient easing. Motion naturally gives way to rest, not because it must, but because that's how balance unfolds over time. As Earth turns and time stretches, cycles repeat themselves in familiar ways. Seasons never announce themselves loudly. Summer doesn't vanish overnight, and winter doesn't arrive all at once. Instead, light shifts a little each day. Temperatures drift. Autumn slips in quietly and summer exhales. Change often arrives softly, so softly we only notice it when we look back. Nature never demands sudden transformation. It allows things to become different at their own pace. And in that patience, there's permission for us to change slowly too. Within each day, light follows its own unhurried rhythm. Dawn and dusk are Earth's slowest transitions. The day never rushes to leave, and night doesn't rush to arrive. Light dissolves like watercolor, blending gently from bright to dim. Twilight stretches time, creating a space where nothing is fully one thing or another. These in-between moments often feel comforting, as if the world is giving itself time to adjust. Light prefers transitions, and so does rest. As daylight fades, the air itself begins to settle. Night air often feels calmer because winds soften when the ground cools. The atmosphere seems to lie down alongside everything else. Breezes slow. Stillness spreads upward after sunset. It's a shared quiet between the sky and the body, a signal that effort can ease. Even the air seems to rest. And yet, silence is never empty. In quiet places, natural soundscapes continue softly, leaves shifting, insects humming, distant water moving in steady rhythms. The world whispers instead of speaking. This low hum of existence can be deeply reassuring. It reminds us that even in stillness, life continues gently, preparing us for deeper rest. Rest doesn't always mean disappearing. Many animals enter states of deep rest while remaining partially aware of their surroundings. Their eyes may be half closed, their movements slowed, their attention drifting somewhere between waking and sleep. Some creatures rest in layers, letting parts of themselves relax while other parts remain gently alert. It's a softer form of rest, imperfect and flexible, and it reminds us that rest doesn't have to be complete or flawless to be real. Birds have their own quiet solutions for rest. Even in the air, rest finds a way. Many birds can sleep while perched, using specialized tendons that lock their feet around a branch. Feathers puff slightly. Bodies remain balanced without effort. The branch holds them gently, and they trust it to do so. Balance becomes effortless when support is allowed. Watching a bird rest like this can feel like a lesson in letting go without falling. In the oceans, even the largest creatures know how to rest gently. Whales sleep by drifting slowly, allowing parts of their brain to rest while the rest remains aware enough to surface for air. These massive bodies float like dreams suspended in water. Even giants rest gently. Sleep doesn't always mean stillness. Sometimes it looks like slow movement carried by the environment itself. Fish follow similar rhythms. Many species reduce their movement at night, entering low energy states where fins slow and bodies hover almost effortlessly. The ocean sleeps in layers, just like lakes do. Motion softens without stopping. There's no pressure to fully shut down, just enough slowing to conserve energy and restore balance. On land, plants follow nighttime rhythms of their own. Even rooted things rest. Leaves may fold inward, like hands. Flowers may close. And internal chemistry shifts quietly. Stillness is a form of care. Plants don't struggle against night, they use it. Rest becomes maintenance rather than weakness, a necessary part of growth. And beneath the soil, seeds wait. Seeds can remain dormant for years, sometimes decades, holding potential quietly underground. Nothing is wasted in waiting. Energy is conserved. Time is held gently. Rest can be preparation. These pauses aren't failures or delays. They're part of the design. And as seeds sleep patiently beneath the surface, they remind us that stillness often carries more promise than we realize. If you've noticed the facts beginning to blur together, that's perfectly okay. They don't need to stay separate. They don't need to be remembered. You can imagine them fading into one another, like a path slowly disappearing into mist. There's no need to hold on to any detail. You might sense your breathing settling on its own, sinking gently with something distant, like waves far away, arriving and leaving without effort. Thoughts can loosen too, drifting like leaves that no longer need to stay attached. Nature continues its quiet work, whether we listen or not. Forests grow, water moves, time passes softly, and as this pause lingers, you can gently return your attention, just for a moment, like opening one eye before letting it close again, ready to drift onward. Some landscapes wait most of their lives. Deserts can remain still and quiet for years, holding their color beneath the surface, until rain finally arrives. When it does, the transformation can be sudden and breathtaking. Flowers bloom almost overnight, painting the land with color that feels like it has been asleep. Rest doesn't mean emptiness. The desert stretches after its long pause, revealing beauty only when conditions feel right. And just as quickly as it arrives, the bloom fades again, returning to quiet. The waiting was never wasted. It was part of the rhythm. Where water lingers, it shapes stone through patience rather than force. Rocks can be smoothed by water over centuries, touched again and again by flowing streams. Nothing resists forever, not because it gives up, but because softness can shape the hardest things. The change is gradual, almost invisible, yet unmistakable over time. Edges soften. Surfaces grow smooth. There's comfort in knowing that even solid stone responds to kindness applied slowly. As rocks continue to break down, they become something new. Sand is often the result of a very long story. Mountains slowly becoming beaches. Every grain has a long memory, shaped by countless moments of pressure and release. Nothing becomes small without patience. What looks simple underfoot once carried great weight and height. Endings here are not losses, but transformations, written over immense spans of time. Wind then takes over, lifting sand grain by grain. Sand dunes slowly migrate across landscapes, sleeping waves of earth reshaped by air. Even still landscapes travel. The movement is so gentle it can hardly be noticed from one day to the next. Change happens without disruption, guided by repetition rather than force. Above the land, clouds drift rather than travel. They are carried softly by air currents, forming and dissolving without announcement. Clouds never rush. Nothing needs to stay. They arrive, they change, they fade. Like thoughts passing through a quiet mind. Letting go doesn't require loss. It's simply part of motion. And when clouds gather, rain often follows familiar rhythms. Many rain systems fall in predictable patterns, tapping gently on leaves and earth. Rain remembers its own rhythm. The sky seems to know how to soothe, offering sound that feels like a lullaby. And as the rain settles into the ground, this calm arc closes, leaving behind a sense of balance and quiet continuity. Every ray of sunlight is already old when it arrives. Light leaves the surface of the sun and travels through space for several minutes before it finally reaches Earth. Warmth travels slowly across space, crossing an enormous distance without hurry. By the time sunlight touches your skin or warms the ground, it has already completed a long, quiet journey. There's comfort in that delay, a reminder that nothing important needs to be immediate. Arrival can take time and still be exactly on schedule. Once that light arrives, it becomes warmth, and warmth has its own gentle rules. Heat moves naturally from warmer places to cooler ones, spreading out until balance is found. Energy likes to settle. A warm room slowly evens itself out. A cup of tea cools as it shares its heat with the air around it. Rest, in this way, is simply equilibrium, the moment when nothing needs to move anymore. As evening approaches, nights cool gradually rather than suddenly. Night doesn't rush in. After sunset, the earth releases its heat slowly, like a warm stone placed on the ground. The day exhales. Cooling is a slow goodbye. giving everything time to adjust. There's no sharp edge between day and night, only a soft transition that invites calm. When darkness deepens, stars appear overhead, seemingly frozen in place. Stillness can be an illusion. Stars are moving incredibly fast, but they are so far away that their motion disappears from view. Distance softens motion. From here, the sky feels calm and steady, reminding us that perspective alone can change how movement feels. Over much longer spans of time, even the patterns of stars shift. Constellations change over thousands of years as stars drift through space. Even the sky forgets and remembers. Stories rearrange themselves quietly. Nothing stays fixed forever, but the change is so slow, it feels almost like permanence. And between those distant points of light lies darkness, not as a thing, but as a space. Darkness is not something added. Night is a subtraction, a soft blanket for the eyes, visual rest. Darkness doesn't take anything away. It simply allows the world to pause. Beneath the ground, far below where roots reach, the earth is still moving. Even rock can flow. The planet's mantle shifts at speeds slower than fingernails grow. Stone behaving like thick honey over immense spans of time. Movement doesn't need speed to be powerful. Strength here is patient, steady, and constant. This slow motion carries entire continents with it. Plates drift just a few centimeters per year, quietly reshaping the planet. Earth rearranges itself without sound, like a body stretching in its sleep. Nothing is locked in place forever. Change happens without announcements, without urgency. As plates press and slide, tension builds gently over long periods. Earthquakes release energy that has been waiting, sometimes for centuries. Energy waits before it moves. Release follows patience. It's not sudden without cause. It's the result of holding for a very long time. After that release, the planet calms itself. Aftershocks ripple outward and then fade. Disturbance softens. The earth settles itself, returning to quiet balance. Even disruption has an ending. Over even longer times, water begins to carve space underground. Caves grow through slow chemical processes, formed as water dissolves rock molecule by molecule. Even emptiness takes time. Darkness is shaped gently, patiently, and within those hidden spaces, crystals begin to form. One layer at a time, molecules align and structure appears. Beauty assembles itself slowly. Perfection is patient. Nothing is rushed, yet everything arrives. By now, you may notice your focus loosening on its own. That's completely welcome here. You don't need to remember anything you've heard, and you don't need to understand where the story is going. You can imagine attention softening like fog rolling across a quiet field, gently blurring edges without removing anything important. The voice you're hearing can fade into the background, becoming just another steady sound in the room. Like a lake at night reflecting nothing clearly, thoughts may dim like distant lights one by one. Everything is safe, continuous, and calm. And as this softness settles, a quiet curiosity can return. Not sharp or alert, just a warm sense of wondering, ready to drift gently forward. Order appears without intention. Snowflakes form symmetrical patterns naturally as water molecules freeze and lock into place. Tiny designs are written by cold air, each flake following the same quiet rules, yet never becoming exactly the same as another. Beauty doesn't need planning. It emerges calmly, repeating itself without awareness or effort. There's something soothing in knowing that order can arise on its own, without instruction or urgency. From snow, we move into ice, and even ice is not truly still. Glaciers flow like slow rivers, moving under their own immense weight. Frozen waves travel silently across the land, sometimes just a few centimeters each year. Cold things move patiently. Strength here is not loud or fast. It's persistent, steady, and unbothered by time. In cold environments, many animals respond in a similar way. Living things know when to conserve. Some animals slow their metabolism, using less energy as temperatures drop. It's like life dimming its lights, choosing rest over effort. Slowness can be wise. There's permission here to rest deeply when conditions call for it. The same quiet behavior appears in the smallest creatures. Insects often pause activity overnight, folding wings and settling into stillness. The smallest lives also rest. Stillness scales down just as naturally as it scales up. Night holds everything gently, regardless of size. When movement does return, it often follows familiar paths. Migration happens along calm, repeating routes. Invisible highways stretch across skies and seas, remembered year after year. Movement can be familiar. Journeys remember themselves, guided by patterns rather than decisions. And at the end of those journeys, many animals return to the same resting places. Rest prefers familiarity. Safe locations are chosen again and again, like returning to a favorite chair. Safety feels recognizable. Belonging is reinforced through repetition, and calm settles in quietly once more. The ocean has its own quiet roads. Vast currents move through the sea like slow rivers, circulating water across the planet over years and even centuries. These underwater pathways loop gently, carrying warmth and nutrients without haste. Water remembers where to go. The sea breathes in wide, patient patterns, never rushing to arrive anywhere. Movement here isn't about speed, it's about continuity, a steady motion that holds the planet together. Along the edges of these currents, tides rise and fall with familiar regularity. The ocean keeps time, responding to the moon's distant pull. Some rhythms never forget. The sea rocks itself to sleep twice each day, advancing and retreating with calm reliability. There's comfort in knowing this pattern will return again and again without needing reminders. Closer to shore, waves roll in, carrying energy rather than water itself. Motion can travel without leaving. Each wave passes its movement forward, while most of the water remains gently in place. Energy likes to pass gently, shared from one place to the next. It's connection without displacement. A reminder that influence doesn't always require departure. Above the surface, the air mirrors these patterns. The sky is always moving, even when it feels still. Air travels in wide, layered currents, invisible rivers flowing overhead. Still air is rarely still. Motion hides in softness. calm concealed within constant circulation. As these air masses shift, pressure changes slowly over time. The atmosphere adjusts itself, stretching and settling almost imperceptibly. Balance returns gradually. Weather doesn't snap into place. It eases toward equilibrium, guided by subtle corrections rather than force. And through all of this movement, sound travels quietly. Every sound is a wave, moving through vibrating air particles. The air listens, carrying voices, wind, and distant echoes as gentle ripples through space. Even silence holds motion, preparing the senses for deeper quiet. Some growth whispers. Moss grows slowly and steadily, spreading like green velvet across stone and soil. It expands so gently it's often unnoticed, yet it endures through patience rather than speed. Soft things last. Success here doesn't announce itself. It simply continues. Alongside moss, lichens form quiet partnerships. Life often works together. These organisms are made from fungi and algae, living in cooperation, sharing resources without awareness. Cooperation can be silent. Harmony doesn't need direction. It emerges naturally when balance is found. Beneath them, soil forms layer by layer. Ground is a memory, built from broken rock, fallen leaves, and countless small processes over time. Support comes from accumulation. Stability isn't sudden. It's created through repetition, through layers resting gently on one another. From that soil, roots begin their slow search. Growth knows where to look. Roots respond to moisture and minerals, extending like seeking hands in the dark. Needs guide movement, quietly and reliably. There's trust here, no urgency, just direction. Above ground, leaves move even when the air seems still. Stillness is never complete. Tiny shifts in temperature and pressure cause small sighs of green. Life trembles softly, reminding us that presence doesn't require noise. And through it all, plants release oxygen, quietly, continuously. Breath is shared. Invisible gifts flow into the air with no expectation of return. Life supports life, effortlessly, preparing everything for rest and deeper calm. If your attention has started to drift, that's exactly how this part is meant to feel. You don't need to hold on to the story or keep track of where you are. You can imagine yourself on a slow boat moving across dark water, not steering, just floating. Stars above might blur as tired eyes soften, and thoughts can loosen their edges, becoming less defined. It's okay to forget what you just heard, or to replay a phrase without knowing why. The voice can simply exist as something steady in the room, like a quiet presence nearby. Nothing important will be missed. Light doesn't have to burn. On warm summer nights, fireflies glow softly through chemical reactions that produce almost no heat. Brightness can be gentle. These tiny lanterns float through the air, blinking without urgency, lighting the darkness without disturbing it. Their glow feels like expression rather than effort. Light that exists simply to exist, then fades when it's done. In the oceans, Bioluminescent waves shimmer briefly when disturbed. Sparkles appear and dissolve in darkness as tiny organisms release light, then let it go. Even light knows when to disappear. Glow is temporary by nature. Beauty doesn't need to last long to be complete. Far above, starlight travels patiently through space. When you look at the stars, you're seeing the past. Light remembers where it came from, crossing millions of years to arrive softly in your eyes. Time becomes a bridge rather than a barrier, connecting moments gently. The night sky appears dark because space is vast. Darkness is spacious. Like a quiet room with only a few distant candles, the emptiness isn't frightening. It's calming. Silence has room. Space itself becomes comfort. And even when nothing seems to happen, time flows quietly. Stillness isn't frozen. Shadows shift. Moments pass without asking anything of you. There's relief in knowing change doesn't require action. Across the planet, sleep arrives naturally. Rest is shared among countless species. Nothing rests alone. A world breathing together, easing toward night. The Earth knows this route by heart. For billions of years, our planet has followed the same gentle path around the sun, circling again and again like a familiar lullaby. Some journeys repeat forever, not because they're trapped, but because they're balanced. There's comfort in that repetition. The idea that motion doesn't always mean change, and that returning can be just as meaningful as arriving. You are being held right now. Gravity works quietly and constantly, shaping every movement without ever announcing itself. Nothing needs to grip. This invisible embrace keeps oceans in place, feet on the ground, and the moon close enough to matter. Safety doesn't always need to be felt to exist. Sometimes it's most reliable when it's unnoticed. From that steady pull comes balance. Stillness can be shared tension, a gentle tug of war where opposing forces meet and rest. Calm is often negotiated rather than imposed. Stability isn't the absence of motion, but the agreement between movements that cancel one another out. Peace emerges naturally when forces listen to each other. High above, planets move along their paths without colliding. The solar system is carefully spaced, like dancers who know exactly where to step. Order protects motion. There's trust in this unseen structure, a sense that chaos isn't as close as it sometimes feels. And yet, even chaos has patterns. Randomness has habits. Swirls in smoke and echoes in storms repeat themselves in familiar ways. Disorder repeats itself just enough to be recognized. Within complexity, there is calm, not obvious, but present. These patterns form cycles, and cycles help systems stay stable. Repetition soothes systems. A pendulum slows. Extremes soften. Return becomes a form of rest, offering reassurance that nothing needs to be held at its furthest point forever. Life edits itself quietly. Many species change very slowly over generations through tiny adjustments rather than dramatic leaps. Change prefers patience. Evolution is a long conversation across time, where nothing is rushed and nothing is forced. There's no hurry to become anything else. Some trees live long enough to witness these changes unfold. Certain species survive for thousands of years, holding time in their rings. Some lives measure time differently. Age can be gentle, adding strength without strain. These trees don't rush toward the future. They simply remain. In the oceans, coral reefs grow the same way. Coral builds vast structures millimeter by millimeter, cities grown from whispers. Greatness can be tiny. Small efforts add up when given enough time, creating something solid, complex, and alive. Seashells follow a similar rhythm. Protection is built softly, layer by layer, as organisms add what they need when they need it. Safety grows over time. Layers remember growth, holding each stage quietly within the next. Above the water, feathers show another kind of balance. Feather structures combine strength and airiness so precisely that softness can lift bodies into the sky. Lightness can be strong. What looks delicate often carries great purpose. And when flight becomes tiring, many animals glide. Effort isn't always necessary. By spreading wings and letting the air do the work, energy is conserved. Support can carry you when you allow it. Sometimes rest arrives not by stopping, but by being gently held. You may already be drifting now, and that's perfectly okay. It might feel like a house at night, with lights turning off one by one, rooms growing quiet without effort. Breathing can fall into a slow rhythm, sinking gently with something distant, like tides far away. Thoughts may begin to dissolve before they finish forming, fading mid-sentence, mid-image. There is nothing left to do, nothing to stay awake for. And if you are still listening, that's fine too. Wakefulness and sleep are equally welcome here. The world continues either way, quietly, steadily, and you can simply rest within it. Some places are designed for quiet. Far below the ocean's surface, sound and movement are greatly reduced. Water holds silence there, pressing gently from all sides like a heavy blanket. The ocean sleeps deeply in these depths, undisturbed by waves or storms above. Rest becomes a physical environment, not just a feeling. Nothing rushes. Nothing echoes. It's a reminder that deep calm can exist as a place, not just a state of mind. Beneath the land, caves offer a similar stillness. Underground spaces maintain nearly constant temperatures year-round, untouched by daily weather changes. Change fades underground. Stone rooms hold calm patiently, providing steady conditions that rarely shift. The earth keeps steady spaces, sheltering quiet beneath the surface. In these environments, many underground animals move very slowly. Energy is precious where resources are limited. Slowness is efficient. Life conserves itself by reducing motion, stretching time rather than effort. There is permission here to slow completely, to do less without losing anything essential. Inside the human body, rest arrives in a similar way. Brains often drift into dreamlike states gradually. Sleep arrives quietly. Awareness fades gently, like lights dimming room by room. There's no need to force rest. It unfolds naturally when conditions soften. As sleep deepens, dreams begin to form. Dreams recycle gently, borrowing fragments from daily life. A sound, a color, a passing thought. Nothing is wasted. Loose memories float together, creating stories without logic or demand. Mental wandering becomes acceptance rather than effort. And within this calm, silence feels different. Quiet can feel large. When the mind relaxes, stillness widens like the night sky. Silence gains depth. It becomes safe, spacious, and complete, setting the tone for what comes next. Everything knows how to slow down. As energy fades, many natural processes begin to ease, like a spinning wheel gradually finding stillness. Motion listens to energy. When there is less to draw from, speed softens, effort releases, and systems settle into quieter states. Slowing is not a failure or a breakdown. It's a natural conclusion, a graceful response to changing conditions. Nothing is forced to stop. It simply rests more deeply. As movement slows, decomposition begins its quiet work. Organic matter breaks down gently, returning nutrients to the environment piece by piece. Nothing truly disappears. Endings are rearrangements, not erasures. Leaves become soil. Fallen trees become nourishment. Returning pieces home is a slow, careful process, and there is comfort in knowing that continuity remains even as forms change. From these old materials, new life often emerges. The world recycles itself endlessly. Beginnings borrow from endings, weaving fresh growth out of what came before. Old stories become new ones without urgency or loss. Matter flows forward, patient and unbroken, carrying life along with it. Over time, ecosystems tend toward balance. After disturbance, systems adjust, like a shaken bowl settling once more. Nature self-corrects. Balance returns gradually, without instruction or panic. There is reassurance in this quiet resilience, the sense that calm can reappear even after disruption. Within that balance, abundance can exist without noise. Thriving doesn't shout. Many rich ecosystems hum softly, full without being loud. Plenty can be quiet. Life doesn't need spectacle to be complete. Peaceful sufficiency settles in unnoticed. As night arrives, this quiet abundance continues. Nighttime activity is often subtle rather than absent. Life whispers after dark. Like a city with lights dimmed, processes continue gently, offering safety in continuity and preparing everything for rest. Rest is everywhere. Across almost all living systems, periods of low activity appear naturally. Nothing runs forever. A planet pauses together, from the smallest organisms to the largest ecosystems. Rest isn't separate from life. It's woven into it. Belonging comes through shared stillness. During these quieter periods, recovery often takes place. Healing prefers quiet. When demands lessen, systems repair themselves gently, without attention. Repair needs space. Rest creates that space, allowing balance to return without effort. Pausing becomes productive in the most natural way. From repeated cycles of rest and recovery, resilience builds. Strength grows slowly. Endurance is patient, accumulating through countless small moments of restoration. This kind of strength doesn't harden, it softens and adapts. It learns how to bend without breaking. Underlying this resilience are rhythms. Regular cycles help organisms predict their environment. The body likes patterns. Predictability soothes, offering a sense of safety through familiarity. Internal clocks hum quietly, guiding behavior without thought. As rhythms repeat, habits form. Familiarity saves energy. Well-worn paths allow systems to operate with less effort, reducing the need for constant attention. The mind rests in routine, releasing vigilance and allowing ease. And within deep rest, time itself begins to loosen. Moments blur together. Clocks melt away. Deep rest often feels like losing track of time entirely, drifting beyond measurement into something softer, preparing gently for what comes next. If you're still aware of these words, that's okay. And if you've already drifted away for moments at a time, that's okay too. Nothing else is required of you now. You can imagine a single porch light left on in the distance, glowing softly without needing anyone nearby. The world continues to breathe without witnesses. Thoughts may dissolve before they fully form, fading gently back into quiet. The story will keep moving whether you listen or not. Everything familiar remains in place. Everything steady continues. And in this softness, there's a sense of being held, not tightly, just enough, as the world carries on, calmly and kindly. Nothing waits to be watched. The earth continues its processes whether we observe them or not. Rivers flow, plates shift, air circulates, and life carries on quietly. Like a clock ticking in an empty room, the world doesn't need witnesses to function. There's relief in that, a gentle release from responsibility. You don't have to hold anything together. It's already happening on its own. Beyond Earth, nighttime is the default state for much of the universe. Darkness is common. Light is the exception. Vast stretches of space exist like a dim ocean, calm and unlit. Night isn't unusual. It's normal. And in that normalization, darkness loses its edge and becomes familiar. Within living systems, calm states require less energy than alert ones. Ease is efficient. Calm saves energy by reducing demand, allowing systems to settle naturally. Like a room with lights dimmed, nothing is lost, only softened. There's permission here to ease back without guilt. Stillness often feels deeper at night. With fewer sounds and signals, quiet expands. Sound seems to sink into darkness, and stillness grows wider. It's spacious without being empty, full without being loud. Perception changes, and calm feels larger. Sleep arrives in this space without effort. You don't have to chase rest. Like leaves drifting downward, sleep comes on its own when conditions allow. Control isn't required. Letting go is enough. And when safety is felt, the body releases even more easily. Safety feels quiet. Like doors gently closed, nothing needs guarding. The world is steady. You are held, and rest can continue naturally. The body understands quiet. When the environment softens, the nervous system often responds on its own, lowering alertness without instruction. Stillness sends messages that say it's safe to rest. Like a dim room signaling the end of the day, switches begin to lower gently inside you. This isn't something you have to manage or guide. It's an intelligent response that has existed for as long as bodies have needed rest. When sound fades and movement slows, the body listens and begins to let go. As that signal spreads, muscles begin to respond in their own time. Relaxation moves in steps. It rarely happens all at once. Instead, tension melts like frost warming in the sun, releasing in small waves. Softness spreads gradually, from shoulders to jaw to hands, without needing attention. There's no need to rush this process. Muscles know how to soften when given space, and they do so naturally, one quiet release after another. As the body eases, the mind often follows. The mind listens to the world. When sensory input decreases, fewer sounds, less light, less movement, thoughts tend to slow. Mental traffic thins. Lights go out one by one. Quiet invites quiet. Silence isn't a command, it's an invitation. And when there's nothing pressing in from the outside, the inside begins to settle as well. From that settling, sleep emerges. Sleep is not a goal. It isn't something to achieve or reach. Rest finds you when effort fades and conditions allow. Like floating into fog or slipping beneath calm water, sleep happens when trying stops. There's nothing left to do, nowhere else to go. Just a gentle drifting into stillness. If you're still listening, that's okay. And if you've already drifted in and out of sleep, that's okay too. This ending doesn't ask you to be awake for it. It's here, whether you hear it or not. Like the quiet sounds of a house at night, distant pipes, settling walls, the soft hum of electricity. Everything continues gently, without attention. There's nothing more expected of you now, nothing to remember, nothing to finish. Outside, nature continues on its own. Trees grow quietly in the dark. Oceans move in slow, patient rhythms. The earth keeps turning, just as it always has, without effort. You don't need to watch it. You don't need to help it along. The world is very good at holding itself together. Rest is something shared. Across the planet, countless living things are settling into their own versions of night. Some are sleeping deeply. Some are resting lightly. Some are simply being still. You're part of that larger rhythm, whether you're aware of it or not. If you find yourself waking again later, you can always return. This space will be here. The quiet will be here. There's no rush, no schedule, no requirement to listen all the way through. You're welcome to come and go as gently as you like. Thank you for spending this quiet time here, for letting the world slow down around you, for allowing yourself to rest, in whatever way rest arrives. The voice will fade now. The story doesn't need to continue. Calm remains, steady and open, like a door left slightly ajar, as everything drifts softly into sleep.